appreciate you you know, hopping on here and meeting up today. Fucking excited to talk some cannabis and everything. And I we've kind of talked here and there in the chat, but I still feel like I got like a lot of questions because I want to. Oh, there you go. There's Kinky Santa. Oh yeah. Uh, because I want to kind of get to know more about you because I know Blue, he's mentioned you a lot and says that you know a lot. So it's like, you know,
Well, dude, I appreciate that. I appreciate you like posting the show. Um, takes some balls to like want to hop on a chat these days. Everyone's kind of like very, you know, in their turtle shells, I guess, including myself. And sometimes it's hard for me to find that discipline to be like, I'm just gonna join it. I don't even have to like make the whole host it all or anything like that, or editing or nothing. Like that. I'm just glad you're doing it, and like, yeah, I'm definitely not like the most like I don't know. I'm kind of tech savvy, but not that much. But anyways, dude, yeah, dude, I appreciate that, and yeah, I'm definitely. It's been kind of long overdue to be back on. Um, but yeah, dude, I appreciate blues shout outs. Every time I hear it, I'm like, what the heck? Because I'm kind of new to growing blues stuff too. Like a lot of guys, they were growing his stuff. It sounds like a long time ago, but like 2021 or 2022 around there, I didn't even really hear about him back then. I was like on a weird, like awkward time of my life around that time. I was like, um, yeah, I don't know. It was just weird going through some weird like I quit smoking in like 2022 for like 9 months, and like I was just going through this weird phase where I was like, oh, like it sounds stupid, it's completely unrelated, but like I thought about being a cop because I just didn't know what to do with my life.
uh-huh.
And then I did like a few like what's it called? Like physical training stuff and passed those, but I just felt like it wasn't the right path for me.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wouldn't be able to do what I love to do, which is growing. Like and yeah, I just smoked some Star 23, and dude, my mouth is so freaking dry. It was like,
Bro, I seen
dude, like
a lot of
super
pictures of
cotton mouth.
that Star 23 looks, every time I see a picture of it, it just looks mouth watering, honestly. And I know a lot of people have grown it out.
Right.
Um and uh what's what was the yield like? What was the how was it growing? Was it pretty um manageable, in the tent?
I
Or I don't know if
mean,
you're in a
dude,
tent.
it was like pretty, I don't know, straightforward
Yeah.
plant. I don't know. It's like uh mine didn't get super big. Mine was kind of like it was a crazy story. So last year I had two harvests. I haven't grown it all this year, and since my last harvest because we've been kind of like planning on moving and all that. So we're a lot of my grow gears and like basically in boxes. And so yeah, anyways, like that sucked because I'm like really like itching to grow really bad and definitely want to grow some more blue stuff. But yeah, anyways, the Star 23. So last year I grew it and I grew like a bunch of blue stuff. I grew like the original Medipack, which is like that's what the Terp Town tickets to is basically. And I grew
Nice.
like a couple original Terp Town tickets alongside of it. Plus I had like a while back ago I had bought like his whole menu when he had that deal going on. And then I had Star 23. And one thing about blue stuff is he all like his distributor or him, whatever, like always hooks it up. I don't know, you've probably noticed that too, but yeah, so I had a whole bunch of Star 23 seeds, and anyways, I popped that last year. Basically, long story short, my whole harvest from that last year, like, got mold because
Yeah.
basically I was like, ready to harvest, and I was just, let me see. So, like, let me gather my thoughts here. The Star 23's pretty pretty racy at first, and then it
Mm,
kind of mellows out, tapers off into more like sedative narcotic effects. But yeah, that's how mine is. Mine's more racy and like kind of make like literally makes you feel like you want to like do something like skating or whatever you like doing, either even if it's something you don't like doing, like working out or uh doing yard work, but also the taper off effect makes you just want to do nothing and just get munchies and chill, watch a movie. But right now it's not at that stage and it's super strong. But yeah, anyways, my whole harvest from last year, like basically got ruined. I remember talking to Blue about it, and he was like absolutely gutted that because I was like hyping it up, taking pictures like on Instagram because I used to have classic dank meds on there, but I don't know. I'm kind of over it, but also I know Blue is too, and since he's not really on there, since he's always getting deleted, it's kind of like I don't know. I just keep my
yeah,
regular Instagram with my name and
yeah,
just
man. I
whoever sees
mean,
my followers, whatever. But
yeah, I mean, whenever it comes to social medias, I can't say I really exist on one. This is about as far as it's gone so far. I definitely feel you there whenever it comes to feeling like uh, just kind of getting on here and um, I think you said earlier, like having the balls, whatever. I just kind of like sending it,
mhm.
and just kind of letting this unfold itself. If we do, I want to make an Instagram and all that, but for this channel and all that. But like as far as what everyone
Yeah,
else is doing, I just really don't have an idea, because I'm just not on there to see. So I know
yeah.
Blue,
I
he's
feel like I don't know. I feel sorry to interrupt, but I do feel
no,
like
no,
people are kind of like moving away from Instagram and a lot of the classic social media stuff, and it's kind of becoming I don't know what it's becoming really, but
yeah,
it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. But I mean, of course, there's always going to be people, and even most people nowadays have a social media anyways, and
yeah.
who
I
knows? It's
mean,
probably going to keep growing, and what it's going to be in 10 years, who knows? But like right now, it feels kind of like. I mean, at least it's not like holograms in your face. Like everyone has to have like meta glasses to go like get on their thing, and then it's just like more less personal and stuff. Who knows? But
yeah, yeah. I mean, like to give you an example, my grandpa is more in tune with Facebook than I am.
oh
It's
yeah, the
like,
old guys love Facebook. My mom, everyone does.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I wish, honestly, I tell my wife all the time, like, you have no idea how bad I wish I can just go back to a home phone and, people don't rely on so much other things to get a hold of me,
They're
just give me a
addicting,
phone call.
man. Phones are addicting. Like everything is so like I do. Uh, so basically, my job, I get to just mostly sit and play on my phone. That's just like it's cool. I basically man the gate at a gated community and just like let people in. That's basically my job. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's like it's pretty chill. It's like at a really rich neighborhood in Oklahoma, and yeah, uh, definitely not don't want to say too much, but yeah, just because like you never know who could be like listening or whatever. But
right. No, I get that, bro. And real fast, I'm seeing Sansa, he had a question here, because whenever we are talking about the mold and everything, he said, "Have you tried soil drenching and foliar spraying with labs? Really helps with avoiding
who said
mold."
this?
Kinky Santa. He's actually
Where's he
in
at?
he's in the meeting. He's just in the chat because he's kind of staying in the background with his dog, is uh barking and stuff. So he's
Oh,
in here,
dude.
but
Well, I
um
can't wait for him to join. And
yeah.
Blue, I don't know if Blue's gonna join,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
but
just kind of like, you know, um, that link's in there, and I'm obviously, we're probably gonna run out of time on this one. I'll have to resend a link, so the chat would definitely be maybe getting blown up, with links, but it'd be okay.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, he was uh
Oh yeah, so I'm kind of like yeah, since I literally just took a hit of the Star 23, but yeah, that's why I'm so spacey. But anyways, uh dude. Okay, so the thing about no, I have not done the foliar spray. I
yeah,
haven't done
honestly, I
that.
can't say I've ever done a foliar spray of any type,
Nah.
you know.
I
That's a
would
new one
like to
too.
do like there's like powdered ammonium sulfate, and that would be really good for like, preventing bugs getting on the leaves. Like get like the powder, you can mix it with water and spray it on the leaves. Like I would say like throughout veg and I don't know if I wouldn't do it early flower. Screw that. That's whenever I just do the soil with like basically you just add a little bit of water with powdered ammonium sulfate, and the plants love it. It actually increases like sulfuric compounds in the whatever genetic makeup it is, depending on, of course, what light you're using. But
Yeah, I never
yeah,
heard
for
of
sure,
that
it's in the
actually. That's
yeah. I mean,
honestly
I've actually
probably.
Guys,
been doing. Oh, what's up,
am I
dude?
am I am I audible to you guys?
Oh yeah, there
Yeah,
you are, bro.
Yeah. I just wanted to chip in with the whole labs thing. I know a lot of people are like really against foliar spraying like in early flower and shit like that, but when it comes to the labs thing, it's literally like inoculating with a mycorrhiza and stuff like that. It's just like a fungal kind of like inoculation, which like binds with the plant, especially with the roots. But it also like forms like a protective cover or stuff. I don't know how to really put it out there, but it really like bonds with the plant in a way where the powdery mildew and mold really like I've never really had that ever happen, and it's probably because of the fact that maybe I live in an area where this doesn't really happen, or it is there but it just doesn't happen due to the fact that I do this prior. Like I do it in veg and I do it in early flower, and maximum like early flower is the least I would do. Like maybe in late flower I've done it once or twice, and it's not really something you should do, but it kind of helps. Like even if you do it in like late flower, like week 7, week 8, like week 7's kind of pushing it in my opinion, but week 5 maybe. If you find issues happening, it will really, really stomp it out right there. Like it won't even let it go any further. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm not saying like everyone should do it and that's the only way to do it, but it's kind of like the cheapest way to solve things, especially when it comes to powdery mildew and mold. And like maybe I might be a good person to speak on this because, like, where I live, it's like 80% and 90% humidity all year round. So I should be getting mold and mildew, like, if anything, but I've never had that issue ever happen. And it's just
so
because
do
of
you
this.
mostly grow? You probably grow like inside, or I'm not really sure what you do.
I've been, so I'll give you like a background of like how I've been growing. Like before, like I've only grown indoors like I only started like last year or maybe a year before that. So basically,
Hmm.
it's only been like 2 or 3 years that I've been going indoors. But before that, I've been outdoors. But even if it is outdoors or indoors, this shit works like a charm. And it's like the
So yeah, what is it
easy,
again? I kind
easy.
of like zoned out.
Hmm.
Like I know it's like it's a spray that's helped with mold, but like aren't you're probably getting tons of airflow too. I don't know if you keep like
Yeah. No, I make sure that that shit is always on point, like
oh
with the
yeah, I bet.
airflow. Like it, yeah.
I bet that would suck. Like basically I did everything right, but then like towards the very ending I screwed up whenever I was growing the Star 23 and all these like plants from Blue and a few others from like probably different breeders. But anyways, I had like everything was finished. It was done. I was like ready to just like smoke. It was just about to dry, and so I had like used a humidifier just because like air in Oklahoma in like the just throughout the year can be super dry, and plus like I've had so many like or not so many because I haven't grown that many times, but there's been a few times where I'll go to dry it and it just like a 3 inch bud just like shrinks down to like an inch and a half bud or something. And it's just like, and then it's all like crumbles in your hands. I can't stand that. I like when it's like sticky and it like, that it preserves everything. It preserves all the terps. It preserves even the THC from like falling off and degrading. And
Seems like you
anyways,
might benefit from like having a humidifier like while that's happening,
yeah,
right? Or
yeah. So
but
like,
that's like a
yeah,
pain in the ass too.
it can be because like if I basically overdid it, like I had finished drying and everything was like perfect. Like it was like super sticky. It was like just yeah, it was just really just amazing. And then I just messed up and I was like once I basically put it back to hang dry because I had cut them down and like I think this is whenever I screwed up. Like I cut them down and then I like um when I hung them back up to dry, I had turned the humidifier back on, and it basically I came home and it was like 70 some. It was like 70% like humidity, which is like way too high. And then basically like long story short, again, I'm terrible at telling short stories, and I get super spacey. But like I basically like I freaking just put them in the grow bags, like the curing bags and just like for just neglected the whole burping thing. Like I thought like, oh, you don't have to burp them because they're grove bags or whatever. Because that's what they say, but you really, I mean,
Those grow
that's
bags are a
only,
lifesaver. Yo, dead ass. I agree. I agree.
dude. But yeah, like I have good experiences with them, but only when you use them right. You can't just like not burp in the very few days and then expect it to like and then possibly having light airflow on it the whole time, just indirectly, just because like that shit will get mold for 100%. Like I got white powdery mildew or whatever on all my plants, basically. Like I was like, oh, this one's done. This one's done. I'll just whatever. This one's drier than this one. The only one that survived was this one from Pakistan, and it was like from the Hunza region. You know where that's at?
I'm kind of aware of where that is. Like not exactly
Hunza. It's like
geographically where
Hunza. I don't
exactly,
know.
but I kind of have an idea. Like, you know.
So yeah. Anyways, that one survived. Um, and it like basically I still have that one. Like it's so strong and so racy and all that. It's just like it's crazy. But anyways, a lot of the effects I was getting and I do get from my past couple grows has been kind of like very extremely racy, but then like I didn't really realize it was because I was like mostly like growing them with metal halide, and that's like blue dominant, which is like very racy. And well, if you flower with metal halide, it's since it's such a blue dominant plant, the plant thinks that it's like a late season, that it's like one of those like sativa kind of like places in the world. So that's why, next time I'll probably be using like an HPS times type spectrum once I flip to flower because it like triggers that response to like basically lock in all of the precursors from the blue light because it's beneficial in veg. And then all those precursors turn into like thiols, like the skunk smells and all that stuff. Like it'll bring that out. And that's something I will be doing my next run because I've just been like nonstop kind of like researching this stuff, but kind of nerding out on that stuff, but not like heavily, but just to know that like blue light, basically blue light and veg, red, uh, deep and deep red and far red. Basically, you want like a pretty high amount of that just because it like helps bring out all those like sedating, narcotic kind of like effects that like people love with cannabis. But if you're just growing like, I mean, you can get similar effects by just growing HPS like throughout the entire life cycle. It's just that the terps and everything are going to be more muted and kind of like
I
flat
actually
and
got a
not really complex.
question with the whole HPS thingy. Sorry to interrupt, but
No, you're good, dude.
I want to ask, are you guys not like leaning towards the whole LED side of things, or like
Oh, for sure,
what's the
dude.
preference for HPS
I've,
with you guys? 'Cause like it's a
dude.
little outdated, or is it, or am I wrong?
Yeah. Sorry, what? I was trying to say
No, I was
that
just asking, like, what's the preference for HPS?
for me, I would say,
Yeah, yeah.
dude, like here recently, I've actually been doing a lot of research on LEDs because, I mean, HPS is just like, it's like way too much red and like it's not really like that balanced of a spectrum. It has other spectrums like white, warm light, which is good for the plant throughout its life. Also to help bring out a lot of like the like I said like sedating narcotic effects like that everyone's really looking for.
So
And
would you say that the final product, like it's an overall better quality on the HPS, like no
dude,
questions are asked or
hundred
whatever?
percent, yeah. If you're on a budget and you can't buy this huge fancy LED light, I would 100% get a LED or not no, I just said that. I would 100% use a HPS, even if you have to use it for its whole life cycle. I mean, that beats like no, just using like an H or just using a metal halide, say, or whatever, or like just using, which no one uses nowadays, but even just using an LED its whole life. I mean, I don't really know, man. Like, it's kind of up to
I
your
mean, you're
personal
not wrong
preference.
there.
I would
And
The
same
say,
reason why I asked,
with me.
the reason
So
why
like,
I asked is because, oh, sorry,
uh,
go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say, kind of like throughout my journey, I started off with ceramic metal halides,
oh,
350
dude, those
watts.
are actually really good. I actually
Yeah,
started out using those too. But yeah,
yeah,
go on.
bro.
Sorry.
And like I uh ended up putting keeping my ceramic metal halides in my flowering tent because of the spectrum of it. I'm pretty sure if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the closest um, that you're gonna get uh, to the sun
Hmm.
compared to other things. And plus, I believe it just
That is
uh,
true.
has
But
better. It may produce or influence better oil production, resin production,
Mr.
and
Smith, are you talking about CMH or HPS right now?
he's
Being
talking about
closest
CMH.
to the sun.
yeah, CMH.
Okay.
And then I got LEDs running my veg, since it's cheaper. Um, I did do CMH with my veg at once, but I mean, it just didn't make sense with what I got going on now. So I will say,
What are you using now?
well, I have an LED vegging and then CMH flowering. And then
Oh, dude,
my
that's actually really smart.
Yeah, and then my wife actually like I gave her some clones and we grew out the same exact, strain. She has LED, she has a Mars Hydro, little
Mm.
two by or I think it's a 2x2 tent. Um and honestly, bro, like I couldn't tell that much of a difference. The bud structure, the density, the effects. I mean, I will say
For
hers
like the
was
same strain.
yeah, it was literally same clones, clones off the
Oh,
same
okay,
mother.
okay.
Yeah, so I mean,
I mean,
the
you
only
can
thing I would
still
say
get
that was
fire either
different,
way.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I think me and her agreed like hers was a little bit more uplifting than the ones underneath my well, the ones that came out of my
mixed
tent.
spectrum
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like you know whoever floats your boat and works with your budget,
for
also.
sure.
So.
So
Yeah, I
would you guys
mean,
say that CMH and HPS, like with the like increased heat that comes with those two types of lights, would you feel like you need to be like watchful of the fact that like I live in a very warm area all year round? So would that like factor into the grow as well? Like would it make the grow even more
Yeah,
hotter than
yeah.
an
You
LED?
you definitely gotta
Factor
watch
those things in,
for,
yeah.
yeah, factor those in. My I've fought the heat with my CMH, lights the whole my whole grow. But I mean, also I'm in my basement, which stays pretty cool, and as long as I have good
What? That's awesome.
airflow in between the light and the
Do you
canopy.
use a tent or
Yeah, I'm just in a 4x4. Well, I got
that's what I
two
use,
four by
yeah. That's
fours.
like perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
nice.
And are you guys
What
but
running
lights are
your
you
lights at night
using?
as well? Or
what was that?
So I was he's running his lights at, yeah, who knows? Sorry, I'm like really stony.
You're good, bro. Um,
yeah.
oh yeah. So the heat. So yeah, you definitely gotta factor that in. Make sure you have great, good ventilation to exhaust all that heat. And plus, um, I feel like this may not be touched up on enough, but coming from an electrician, you may want to, just make sure, those things draw a lot of power. Just make sure everything's wired up right, and
Yeah.
nothing's gonna melt, from being too hot. Um, like and all that. So
Yeah, I mean, I
What
think you
about
need at
well, what
least
about
like
when it comes to things like, for example, I don't know, like I have a this is just kind of like a you can call it a stereotype or maybe a thing that I think is like a common wherever you guys live is probably America. But I feel like does it really also affect the fact that uh, consistent electricity, like where I live, especially in India or third world countries, electricity is not always like a given. Like that shit can like shut off if it starts raining outside quite heavy, or if the government's like, oh, we've got like way too much energy consumption or the taxes or some fuckery is not working right, so they're gonna like cut electricity uh, sometimes throughout the day. So does that really
damn.
factor into the whole CMH HPS thing? And also like when it comes to like electricity surges, is there a chance that you might blow out a bulb if it surges like from time to
Damn.
time and shit like that?
mm, that's a good
Dude,
question.
that's a good question. Yeah, I would say like, dude, that's kind of like as long as you're like not, I mean, obviously you're dealing with humidity, you're dealing with like people monitoring your freaking surge electricity crap. I would say, dude, like I would really just make sure you're not overusing like random gadgets. Like if I wouldn't like instead of using like an outtake fan or like an intake fan, I mean, I would
Mm-hmm.
freaking just use an outtake fan instead and just like open the bottoms of the tent. That way you're using less power. That's one thing because those fans, dude, can take a lot of power. And if you're using a dehumidifier, I would get like an extension cord, plug it into a different like
Mm-hmm.
plug in a different room,
Outlet.
and then like use that for the room. As as long as like who you're living with is cool with that, which they probably won't be. But I mean,
Just
if
real
that's what you got to
fast,
do,
Because
man,
guys.
the
like
reason the
Uh,
reason why I ask is because I feel like there's gonna be like a high possibility. Like growing in India right now is not really like a thing that's widespread as compared to like somewhere in the West, but it is happening. I'm not gonna act like I'm the only motherfucker here that's up to this
what's
kind of
going on?
nonsense.
Sorry.
But I feel like everyone, mostly like the people that doing this kind of shit in India, everyone's mostly just using LEDs. Like nobody's even heard or even thought of using
Well, yeah, that's the
what is it?
freaking yeah, HPS, metal halide, CMH, like all those are good, but I would say like yeah, they do use a lot of power. I mean,
And they
if
might
you're
blow up.
overusing,
That's the thing that I have a feeling like with the
I
way
mean,
electricity is done in
yeah,
India. I don't know.
dude, I would
well,
just go online and invest in one that's like not from some sketchy dealership, dude. I'm not saying like it's sketchy because it's from India. I'm just saying I would outsource it just because
Mhm.
sometimes the things that are local to us aren't the best. It's kind of like a Toyota. They don't really make them here. I mean, they're like Japanese cars, but everyone knows they're good. So like every hillbilly is driving them anyways. So anyways, dude,
Mm-hmm.
I would personally, I would like use a freaking metal halide, like get a good brand, use it in your veg, and then once you flip to flower, dude, make sure your LED, look up the specs and see how much red light there is, if there's deep
I,
and
I
far
actually
red.
run
Most
I actually run an LED for veg and flower, and I feel like when it comes to
Mhm.
the whole heat that we've got to deal with over here in some parts of India, like it's the best fucking thing we can do. Like otherwise we might just like fucking cook the plants inside the house, bro. Like that ass. Like I feel
Dude, so
like
like
that
over
should
there,
be.
it kind of seems I can't even imagine like any. For some reason, I've never thought of anyone in India home growing. Like to me, I'm like, isn't it like super strict over there? I know you guys have had like your hash
I'll,
scene
I'll
and
I'll
like,
give you guys a lowdown on what's the reality of cannabis consumption and growing in India. So, India has, well, it's clearly illegal to the most of like how it is in the rest of the world. But at the end of the day, whether it's illegal or not, India is like, if you look at the top 10 cities in the world that consume cannabis, number five and number three are Indian cities in the world. Okay. And if you look at like the reality of what's actually happening in India, it might be illegal on paper, but people are smoking like it's been fucking legal since like the last 1,000 years or 3,000 years or 5,000 years, however old Indian society is or culture and language or whatever the fuck it is. People are still smoking it like it's not a big deal. But at the end of the day, the government still does its, usual fuckery and bullshit, demonizing cannabis and crap like that, because they've got agendas and targets and crap they need to meet at the end of the year or at the end of the month or whatever. But yeah, and that too, like when it comes to growing, 80% of all cannabis being consumed in India is like land-raised cannabis, and that too, like we've
wow.
like isolated villages and large stretches of land and parts of India where there's like fields and mountainsides and valleys full of cannabis, some for hash, some for buds. And it's mostly like hash in the north and buds in the south. So we've got the best of both worlds. But 80% of it is being grown by poor rural farmers who either grow cannabis and opium and stuff, like just dedicate their lives to just growing that only, or they grow it in a way where they're traditional fruit and vegetable farmers, but they grow like 80% of their crop is just fruits and vegetables, and then 20% is just cannabis. And the reason why they do that is in case the fruits and vegetables fail for that specific year, the 20% of cannabis that they've grown will like cover up the costs and stuff that they put into the rest of the vegetables that had failed that year. Are you guys getting the reason why they do that now?
I mean, dude, yeah, I get it. It's obviously to make themselves look better and also to keep tourism out. I mean, just imagine like, I mean, I'm every image or video I've seen of India, it's like obviously really busy place.
Crowded, and there's a lot of like trash and shit, mostly up in the north. Um, Let me also just highlight on one small thing. I feel like you guys have kind of missed out on, didn't get it. Like when a farmer that's a traditional fruit and vegetable farmer grows like 80% of his land is just fruits and vegetables. In case that shit fails that year and he can't harvest or he can't sell it or the shit goes bad, the 20% of land that he's growing cannabis on has so much higher value that he can sell it off and still make profit or like still make life happen for him and his family that year in case the fruits and vegetables fail. But if it doesn't fail, well, then he has an additional cannabis harvest on top of the fucking fruits and vegetables that will just net him more money to like have a fucking life worth living. And that's like just 80% of the consumer market is just like local Indian weed, which is like so diverse and so different. Like we've got a different strain every 10 kilometers, or every different village. There's a different
Yeah.
strain which with a different taste
And
and
that
a
stuff has
different
been like,
effect. And
it's probably so dank. It's probably been like held for like hundreds of years and like passed down from generation. Over here, it's like a 10,
thousands of years, bro.
Yeah,
thousands of
over here it's
years.
like
And if
a
anything,
10 pack. I'm just saying like that stuff
and if
knocks
anything, this is
kicks our ass basically. Like anything we have over here, anything probably that you guys have over there is like probably
but
like grown in
they
Afghanistan or
say
Pakistan
there's like
or even
there's like
India.
two sides to that shit though. There's like two sides to that shit though. Like even if it's landrace and it's dank, there's like two sides to it, or like three sides to it. Like it could be good weed, but then at the end of the day, there's so much fucking weed being grown by a group of people or a village or whatever that they don't really care about maintaining quality, right? They just give a fuck
Oh,
about harvesting the
Okay.
product, drying the product. There's no fucking curing done most of the time. And then they need to get it in large amounts from point A to point B, and
So
they
real
might
fast,
smuggle it through
Kinky.
things.
Are you saying the farmers that have the 20% of their property being grown, they're grown, weed on that 20%? Are you saying like they're not putting in what they should be putting in to have a quality product? They're just kind of doing it,
They don't
you
they
know?
don't care. They don't care. It's just the Indian
Okay.
mentality. Like give us an inch and we'll grab a mile. Like we want to get the most out of with the least amount of effort. And that too, like I'm gonna give you an example when it comes to like buds. In most of India, that's growing like a bud quality crop. They don't even give a fuck about removing herms or males from the fields. Or even if they do, it's kind of pointless because they got acres and hectares and fucking large swaths of land where you can comb through and find like all the meals that you can maybe in 1 month, but then by the next month there's probably one or two meals that are popped out here and there that you'll never come across or you'll never get the chance to find. So it's fucking pointless. The entire shit is seeded, and that
Yep.
too, it's really, really like there's a market that's kind of there where like sometimes certain buds or certain types of cannabis varieties will be depending on how lightly seeded, how heavily seeded it is. And that too, like sometimes when they dry it so fucking dry that as soon as it gets to an area where there's high humidity, you open it up and then it's full of like fungus, so it's just fucking shite and it's lost all its terps. So you can smoke it and it'll get you high, but it's kind of like a fucking soulless dead high sometimes. And you gotta
Yes.
really, really struggle. You gotta really, really know people and have contacts who are going to get you stuff from places where they've tried to like at least do a little bit of fucking effort to maintain the quality. And that's mostly from the Northeast, where there's like an actual sensimedia market that's kind of like been there since the fucking before even the British came over and stuff, like for hundreds of years. Like you pay the farmer a little bit extra beforehand. Like he hasn't even started the crop out. You tell him like I like your shit. Uh, I'm going to send you money right now. When your harvest comes about, just know you got to keep aside like this much for me and make sure that it's seedless or maybe at least lightly seeded. And the guy will be really fucking happy. Or you can hit him up at the end of the year when harvests are done and then just ask him, like, what the fuck do you have? Like, do you have heavily seeded, lightly seeded? Do you have, there's like an actual market in the Northeast, which I really appreciate because those places are so large and kind of isolated that these guys can get away with having large plants outdoors and not have to deal with the fact that the police or the villagers or others dumbasses come and snitch on them and say that, yo, these guys are growing like really fucking stinky large plants outdoors and they're also seedless, like it's kind of
Yeah.
like a pain in the ass. And
Yeah. So
also
the
like when it comes to the whole hash culture and the bud culture, like to give you guys an understanding of how it is, um, we have a north-south divide. Like the North Indians are culture-wise, linguistically, and also like in many aspects, they're most similar to like Europeans and such. Even in terms of skin color, like they would look like they could easily pass for a European or a white person. Whereas the people in the South, with more darker skin, curly hair, shorter, we could easily pass for someone who you could say is from Africa and stuff. But at the end of the day, we're all Indian, but the divide in the north and the south between culture and linguistics and skin color and stuff, it also translates into the cannabis being smoked. Most of the people
mm,
in the north, they prefer hash. And I feel like it's got to do something with their culture of like they just want to like sleep, go to get the fuck knocked out at the end of the day when they come home from work. So what they need, they want hash. But then the people in the south, we're already working hard. And on top of that, the weather's horrible. It's annoying, and you feel dead already all day. So why would you want to smoke some hash that puts you to sleep or knocks you the fuck out? You'd rather smoke something that's electric, that keeps you going, that keeps you active, or gets you racy and gives you anxiety from time to time. But that's one thing I've noticed. And if anything, there's also like a parallel with how you guys in the West consume cannabis. I thought this wouldn't be there, but it is there. So when I was in the UK and I got a proper like introduction into like modern cannabis and all the concentrates and the modern flowers and hype and like old school hazes and stuff like that, I seen this divide that's there with the Western society that's literally there in India as well. Hash smokers or concentrate smokers will look down on bud smokers because they'll be like, damn, you guys are like broke or you guys are cheap. You guys are still smoking flower. We don't smoke no flower. We just smoke concentrate or we just smoke hash or we just smoke churros, you know? There's like a prestige that comes with smoking concentrate or hash. And those people look down on flower smokers like we're like pieces of shit. Or do you guys get what I'm going with this? I don't know
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
guys have experienced.
No, I mean, I feel like that there's definitely I've ran into people that whenever they are on concentrates, they just kind of look at flour a different way. So I totally
Yeah.
relate to
And if
that.
anything, there's also this other thing when the whole concentrator and hash smokers, like especially hash smokers here, they pride themselves on having expensive chillums that are Italian made, pure marble or some shit like that, which costs a fuckload of money. Like you can easily pay anything from like $200 to $500 to like $1,000 for like for a pipe that's made by some fucking Italian out in the fucking Himalayas or something that's dedicated his life to like making like really, really high quality, like artisanal work. And they pride themselves on having that to smoke their hash because it elevates their image and look. And like, yeah, look, I'm going to invest a lot of money into just this act of consumption, which makes me a better person or some shit like that. Whereas they look at all these flower smokers and they're like, yo, motherfuckers are still smoking out of like papers and shit. That's like seen that it's also there in the concentrate world. Like a lot of concentrate people pride themselves on having all the most expensive rig. I don't know. Do you guys get the way I'm going with this? Like there is like a parallel between both
Yeah,
these
the
Yeah,
societies.
parallels.
yeah, and I
It's
think
yeah,
that
dude, it is
there's a
definitely.
parallel going on kind of in I think it was in Mexico whenever I was listening to a podcast with Blue and he had I think it was um
Origins, dude, that's crazy.
yeah,
I was literally gonna mention that at some point.
yeah, bro.
That
Go
just
ahead. Yeah.
briefly just mention it. I remember he was that guy. He was like, funny you brought that episode up, but he was just talking about how like over there it's like a status thing. Having sorry, my stupid cats are getting fed. Um, but um, basically he was talking about how over there it's like a status thing having a vape, and it's like just kind of like over there it's like you're blowing like $60 or it's like $80 a vape, and that's like the average like weekly household income over there, some shit. And it's like that to me is like showing you like how much of an impact, because I mean Mexico has had, they I'm sure they can get some freaking pretty decent brick weed even nowadays. Over here it's
Wait,
more
when
extinct
you're
now.
talking about a vape, when you talk when you talk about a vape, are you talking about like a nicotine tobacco vape, or are you talking about like a
No,
cannabis
like a
vape?
cannabis vape. Yeah, basically he was having
Oh,
vapes made for him and shipped from California, and they would just send him like the bogus ones that were like they're like lower par ones that messed up in
full
the
of
factory or
distillate,
something. But
distillate.
yeah, or some. I'm not sure if he didn't ever say if it was distillate or. Do you remember, Mr.
No,
Smith?
I'm not gonna lie. I hate distillate. I hate distillate too, with my fucking heart because I feel like all the dumbasses that smoke distillate. Don't take me wrong. If you guys smoke distillate, you do you. But I just feel like for people who come into cannabis and they're kind of early in, and they see
Yeah,
distillate, like if they're not aware of what it actually is, like I
they think
just
it's
see it as,
fire.
yeah, I just hate that, bro. Like I'd
Dude,
prefer
yeah.
rosin or resin over distillate over any day or anything else, like even hash. Like fuck distillate. I feel like distillate should go down the route of like what BHO did has,
It's
where
definitely
it's
like a
become a,
learning experience.
yeah,
If you're not
it's
retarded and you just like move on
yeah.
from that. But if you're just like, I mean, if that's all you had and you had like no choice, I would definitely like just use what I have at my disposal. But like if I have a choice, that's like, it's a no-brainer. Like obviously you want actual
I mean,
terps. You don't want some like food grade terps or some
it is
crap or like,
it is convenient because I see like a lot of my friends
yeah.
when I was in the UK. Some of my friends work government jobs in the UK. Like they work at job centers, giving out like,
Oh no,
or
you
what's
have
the,
to have one then.
yeah, yeah. Like they work at these government jobs where they like giving out unemployment benefits for people who need the, I don't know what the whole thing is with that in the West, but that's the thing that happens. So when these guys need to like smoke discreetly or like quickly, they just go to the bathroom or they just quickly go outside, take two, three hits off the distillate vape, and then go back in like
Screw
nothing ever
that,
happened.
dude. I
Yeah.
could not do that. I'd be having like a panic attack. I'd be like, fuck this, dude. I need to get out of here. I'm gonna go smoke some flower at home or something.
Yeah.
Like
So
not right
so
now because I'm too
basically,
high. But
so basically, distillate doesn't really leave like a residue, smoke, smell, or cannabis smell on you, does it? Or because I haven't used it that much, maybe a little bit, but like I just want to know, what do you guys think? Like, does distillate leave a smell on your body or person after like you consume
not
or
if
whatever?
it's like food grade terps. Like food
Yeah.
grade terps, like obviously they add whatever terpene, like freaking who knows, like snow cone juice or some crap. But like anyways, who knows like the health implications. That's a whole nother story. But I think that yeah, if it's like adding actual cannabis terpenes back into it, that's different. But also, you're like pumping your body with huge amounts of THC that you should never need unless you're like severely in pain or something's going
Hmm.
on. Like, but like if it's not that case, then your body's gonna like go into like fight or flight. That's
Do
just
you, do you
my. I've been smoking
do
for a
you
long
think
time, and that's just the experience I've gotten from.
do you
There was a
think do you
point in
think
time when it got me through some like hard times. I would say like really dark times of like prohibition, like just now, like we had just gotten like medical in like 2018 over here in Oklahoma. And so at that time it was like, oh sure, give me some distillate. I was like so cannabinoid deficient that like yeah, I would take anything. And so I was consuming lots amounts of either my own homegrown fresh pressed rosin, like flower rosin from weed I'd get from homies still, because they had better weed than we did in the dispensaries at first. But then all those guys basically had to quit because everyone was getting their medical cards over here. So, but yeah, dude, it got me through some hard times out, and it is more discreet. But who knows what you're doing to your body? And
I mean,
also,
I'm
it's
gonna
like
put it like this. I'm gonna put it like this. If you see THC as a bus that gets you from point A to point B, if you're smoking flower or resin or rosin or
everyone's
hash,
gonna know.
yeah, no, everyone's gonna know. But the thing is, from point A to point B, THC is just a bus, but the terpenes and the flavonoids and the other cannabinoids affect the route of the bus. Like it makes the journey more enjoyable or gives it a kind of like character or personality. Whereas distillate's just like a fucking high-speed train. It just gets you from point A to point B ASAP. And there's no
Yeah.
fucking ride
Mm,
or something memorable that makes it go like, yeah, that was exceptional, or that was special, or that was racy, or that was lethargic. There's none of that.
mm,
It's just like you're just high. You're just instant high. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Yeah.
all I
I mean,
see.
the best way I could explain it to patients that I would deal with in the dispensaries down here is like thinking about how you could think about cannabinoids and that goes into the endocannabinoid system, but like because that's you're looking for the entourage effect, not just like
Yeah.
um one cannabinoid, the THC. So like best way I can describe it is like, would you rather have one key that opens one door, and that one key being, the cannabinoid THC, or would you rather have a key ring full of keys so you can unlock all these doors, and uh, get what you
Hopefully
And
with
want.
get an
labels on them.
Yeah,
overall better medicinal effect, in my opinion, with the rest of all those things working together
yeah,
synergistically. That medicinal effect is like is priority when you smoke it in flower or hash. Whereas with
I think it's
distillate, you
hilarious.
get
Let them smoke the disty. Who cares? More flour for
yeah.
us.
If anything, I'm gonna like just go back to the whole point of the Indian cannabis market. So I did highlight like 80% of the cannabis that we smoke right now is all local, landrace, desi, whatever. And it's kind of funny whenever I meet people or see people online talking on Instagram forums or like YouTubes and shit like that. They always talk about like, yo, land races are a gimmick. It's a marketing term. They don't really exist. It's all been hybridized right now. And I'll be like, yo, you motherfuckers do not know what's the reality of India. Like, we're the biggest population on the planet right now. And the diversity within land races and feral and domesticated types that we have as local is so diverse and still thriving that even in Milana, where there's a lot of Israelis and foreigners and Russians going there and bringing foreign cannabis in and sometimes growing it out, like that little sprinkle of modern genetics populating a field full of like feral cannabis might affect it in a generation or two, but two, three, five, 6 generations in, the feral cannabis's genetics will take over those hybridized varieties and just make it go back to what the fuck it was initially. Like it's absolutely like still alive and thriving is what I'd like to say. But then the other 20% of cannabis being smoked within India is now all the stuff that's coming in from recently Thailand. But before Thailand went legal, we were just getting in stuff that's shipped in from Amsterdam through like dark web and shit like that. We were getting hash, we were getting static, dry sift, all that. We would get even like California's hype and whatever when it comes to like Cali weed was like a thing that we were getting here. Even Canadian cannabis is still coming in,
So
but
wait, when
mostly
was
it's
this?
all I mean, before Thailand went legal, that was the reality of the situation here. Like 20% of all
Oh,
cannabis being, yeah. But after Thailand's gone legal, it's completely shifted over. Like we have like fully formed drug syndicates. It's kind of funny when I say that drug syndicates because I feel like it's nothing compared to like organized crime in the West. Like that's really organized. Ours is just a bunch of like potheads, stoners, and young dudes getting together and being like, we need pot and we need this shit that they have in Thailand. So we're going to go there and set up like somewhat of an organized ring that's going to like bring it in on airplanes and stuff and smuggle it in. And like maybe a batch that'll get caught might be worth like $18,000 or something. But that's just one part of like a big ring that's like 10 times more well run and funded and stuff. So it's
dude, that
mostly
almost
just high
sounds
weed.
like, yeah, sorry to interrupt. That almost sounds like what we, like a parallel, like you said earlier, kind of like over here we got the Chinese infiltrating it. Like the one of the
I mean,
biggest illegal grows that's been found was in my state over here with Chinese guys, and they're popping up everywhere.
I'm aware of that. That's like the whole Bubba Kush story kind of bullshit, right? Like the Chinese dominating Bubba and shit like that. Uh,
I mean, dude,
oh,
it's actually a real thing over here in Oklahoma. Like they're getting
okay.
huge plots of land and like just like organized crime, like you said, type of things. Like they're getting like they're involved in all sorts of dark stuff, dude. It's like stuff I
But the
don't even
funny
want to
thing is,
mention.
but the funny thing with that is like this is my opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong. But that being done by the Chinese, yeah, even though they're quite anti-drugs and all that, I feel like that's organized and kind of like a conspiracy theory kind of thing. Not that I don't believe it, but I believe it. But I feel like it's something that's being done by the Chinese government where they don't really want to be involved directly say that they're growing cannabis within China, but they'd rather do it in America and benefit off of the fact that they
That's
get
the
to
crazy
get
part.
make the money off of cannabis within America and sell it to Americans. Whereas with the whole Thai weed coming into India, it's just weed that's
It's
grown
already
for
illegal over
consumption.
there.
Yeah, no, but the Thais have nothing that involved with the whole cannabis scene in India. They just grow it there for themselves, and a bunch of Indians are like, we're just gonna go buy it and send it to our country themselves. So the people bringing the weed into like India from Thailand are Indians, whereas the people involved with the whole Chinese whatever thing that's happening in America is being done by the Chinese for the benefit of the Chinese at the disadvantage or like whatever to the Americans, because I feel like they also use a lot of like fucked up chemicals to grow all that shit, and they don't really give a damn because they're just like, yeah, a bunch of Americans are gonna smoke our pot. We don't care whatever happens to them. Whereas I think like the Thai, I think they actually do care about the quality of their cannabis, but whether they do the necessary things to maintain that quality is up to debate. But I feel like the Thai at least like know their shit. Like they pride themselves. Like, yo, this is our Thai weed. It's kind of good, so fuck with it, you know. Whereas the Chinese, they're just like, yo, this is just a drug. We're just gonna grow it and sell it to a bunch of Americans. We don't care about quality. We don't care
100%.
about, yeah, like I think I saw a documentary on that stuff, so it was kind of like I'm kind of like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
but
crazy. I haven't really I didn't know that was going on really, so I'm glad you guys brought that up to light. And just real fast, back to the land race thing. I'm glad that you also touched on if a hybridized um pollinization was to happen in a land race field, so to say, it would kind of get bred out. Because I know some people are have seen some videos and some people concerned about you know,
I
the
mean
land races.
put it this way. Put it this way. I'm gonna give you a very good example of how that's really not a problem in the long run. In the short run, yes, it is a problem. In the long run, not really. So the people in Malana that's known for its famous hash and stuff like that, they have this kind of like racist caste system based ideology where you can't touch them, you can't touch their houses, you can't touch their food. If you're gonna hand them money for whatever exchange of services or products, you got to put it on the floor and then they'll pick it up because they see themselves as higher than you or better than you. And the reason why they see themselves higher or better than you is because of the fact that they currently live or are descendants of Alexander the Great's army that had marched through India, and then some of the soldiers fucked around, left kids, and some of them went back, some of them stayed. But over time, over generations, those people just look like any other average Indian, bro. Like one of them might have blue eyes or green eyes here and there, or like a few phenotypic variations that might look like they're a little different. But if you look at them as a whole, they're still Indian. They've got the same DNA as I, and there's nothing different about them that makes them superior or better or inferior. None of that. They're just the same. So that's the same with the cannabis. Like you can come in and sprinkle a little bit of like modern varieties into a gene pool, but over like 3 or 4 generations, or like maybe just 3 generations in, that shit's gone back to like what it was initially. Or maybe it's a little bit better now because it's got like influx of new genetics that might like make it not have certain weird mutations or something like that. But in the long run, the shit's still landrace. It's still, I wouldn't say landrace, it's still local and domesticated varieties. Land
Yeah,
races, I feel like I kind of agree with whoever said it yesterday. I don't know where I saw it, but I feel like it's a marketing term or a gimmick. But most of these varieties are not feral. They're all domesticated. They're grown by people that are keeping the seeds for generations, and they only take the seeds from the best plants of the current crop and then use those to grow the next generation. So there is some kind of like selective human pressure, like
and
some kind of like breeding.
whenever it's portrayed like that, because I it's been portrayed like that to me until I started really looking into it and realizing like, hey, you know, whenever we are looking at it like that, that takes away, the hundreds of years of selective breeding that these cultures have done, you know, to have, these land races that smoke really good, and it's not just ditchweed, and
Hmm.
get
I mean,
takes
if
away.
it is ditchweed, even if it is ditchweed, right? You can easily tell if it's ditchweed because then that those are the plants that are just growing in places like uncontrollably, and nobody's really giving a fuck about touching them or going around them or being near them. Whereas if you see cannabis that's being grown alongside humans, now that's a domesticated variety, even if it looks a little, like ditchweedy and a little like it looks like jank bunk shit. that shit's still better than the feral crap that's got no humans around it. Like that's the one main factor. If there's humans near cannabis, that shit's gonna get stronger. If there's no
Yeah,
humans near cannabis and it's just growing uncontrollably, now that shit is like hemp. That shit is straight up like jank. You shouldn't touch it. You shouldn't smoke it. It's better if you just cut it down, dry it, and feed it to your animals, and use it as like mulch or whatever. But the shit
yeah,
that's next to humans, yeah, that's where the fire is. That's how I see it.
yeah. So definitely got to give a shout out to the families, the cultures, and everyone that made land races what they are for sure.
And
Um,
if anything, I'm gonna highlight something that I talked about yesterday on, like, I don't know if you guys are aware of this place, no place, this channel on Instagram called Future Cannabis Project. Uh, they kind of have like a bunch of like channels like FCP1, FCP2, FCP3, and 4. On number 4, they usually have this get together called Landrace Conversations or whatever the fuck they call it. But yesterday on that podcast, I kind of highlighted the fact that when it comes to the breeding of cannabis, landrace cannabis types within India, it's kind of like selective breeding, but with no conscious effort. Like people and farmers are kind of picking the best plants, but they're not really going after the best, or really focusing on quality that much. They're kind of like picking it one at a time. And it's going to take like 100 years to 1,000 years for that variety to get better over a long period of time. Whereas compared to like the Muslim dominated areas like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and those areas, even if their societies are so anti-drugs and so like really, really against intoxication of any form, like those places have overall stronger varieties of cannabis, and they've actually developed the cannabis trichome density and size to an extent that is not comparable with whatever we see in India. Because in India, I feel like we have more of a, what do you say, the sticky resin. Whereas in those areas, they've had the bigger sandy type of resin that easily falls off. Whereas the Indian plants have resin that doesn't really fall off. It's just hella sticky. And it's kind of ironic that the places which are so anti drugs have developed cannabis